Good morning, everyone. It's 2nd May 2017. Welcome to another episode of ProAMT Traders Digest. Disclaimer: trading in stocks derivatives involves substantial risk of loss and not suitable for all investors. Past or simulated performance is not a guarantee of future results. All systems, indicators, strategies shown here are for education purpose only. All levels discussed here are for understanding the study and not a recommendation to trade. Please consult your personal financial advisor before making any investment or trade decision based on anything that is discussed here. We will not be responsible for any resulting profits or losses. So before going into the daily charts, let's let's have a look at the micro composite profiles. So this balance, if you can see, it's developing and still underway, not completed yet. We have not got any initiative move away from that zone. So till we get a initiative move away from that zone, we don't know whether the balance has completed or not. But as of now, the point of interest is the April month VWAP, which is at 9234. And then we have the highest balance, which is already recorded, which is 9240 till 9264. So that is an important zone. And apart from that, we had a huge volume spike on the expiry day, which is a bad sign. Volume spike coming in the Nifty futures and the Nifty spot, that too at all time highs, means there is some supply coming in. So need to see how demand holds itself during this week. Now this is Bank Nifty. Here it's a complete trending move, no balance, and maybe there can be a balance happening here. So depending on how it behaves, we'll draw a fresh balance. But till now, we don't have any balance above this. There is a micro balance here just above this, but I prefer that because we have left that area and in a trending move. So we'll check the balance once it forms. The monthly VWAP of April is at 21,766. So that becomes a important reference, and we are trading way above that. So seems like Bank Nifty is stronger than Nifty. Now, while we are here, let's also have a look at the weekly projected levels. So the weekly projected high is 9437, and the weekly projected low is 9229. So if we calculate this swing, we completed the 100% of this swing, 100% extension, retracement extension, which was at 9350, and now we have the 127% at 9420.7. So the projected high and the 127% are almost near to each other, and that is the main supply zone in case we make a new ATH. Also, another important thing is that weekly was one time framing down, and with this huge up bar, that weekly one time framing down has stopped. And also, since 3 weeks, it was in a tight range, was not going one standard deviation It was not giving that one standard deviation range, so the projected high and low were protected. None of those levels were hit, and previous week was the first week after 3 weeks when we hit the projected high and pushed through that. Now let's see how bank nifty is looking. So here the projected high is 22,680 and the projected low is 22,052. Now the indicators have gone sideways. The range, the weekly range dropped a bit from an average of 700. It has almost come to 650. Weekly median has dropped by around 50 points. And this is like one time framing up. So it's like in a very strong uptrend. And let's see what the daily is showing. The daily is balancing a bit post this breakout. So this is a balance, but still it's one time framing. Though this is almost overlapping, but still it's one time framing. So overall, very bullish scenario until and unless we get some reversal signs. So now let's have a look at what Nifty did on Friday. So you get a open within the range of previous day, and at the HVN, push down below the range, and then B period tries to push back into the range, fails, and C period extends down. There was a failure in C period. We get an inside bar, and then again E period comes to test the C period lows. F period again we get an inside bar, a false break of that inside bar, and then a ramp up. So we get an inside bar in I period again when it breaks out, and then a final breakout goes above the first hour high or the day's high till then, and then fails and comes back down, settles below the point of control. Overall a weak close, but the volume was not that attractive to get more supply in. So need to check how it behaves. How the volume shapes up is also important today and also tomorrow, because maybe then we'll be able to establish some range on the downside if it wants to. Otherwise we'll again pull back towards the point of control of 9362. On the 3 minutes, uh, we have a push down, a nice balance happening, a breakdown, then another balance, and then all of a sudden a spike down. This spike was entirely bought in. The tick was getting absorbed, so the underlying was getting bought. You can see a nice and clean divergence. And also, if we calculate this, we had a channeled move. This was expanding and then finally breaks through that, comes back and tests it, and then pushes higher. Now this was sold into. So if we see these buyers and these sellers, so almost the intraday inventory was neutralized on the delta front. So the big guys exited, and that's why there was no interest left in the auction to explore lower or higher prices. On the 15-minute, we have the same dragging move down. The volume is gradually dropping. All of a sudden, we get this spike, and then the close, very next close comes above the swing low made in the morning. So uh, that's a sign that there is some demand coming in. And the moment it crosses this, the high of this bar, and then finally takes shapes up its up move, goes higher, spikes, comes down, and then a nice test and a move down. So this was a tradable move, but not that easy enough to trade. Now let's have a look at the Renko. Just get the chart. Okay, so on Renko we have an impulse down and then a symmetric move down with a zipper coming in. Tries to push through that zipper, fails, and creates an impulse. This impulse failure comes back, crosses this zipper, comes to test it back, and then so we have this impulse, pull back, impulse, and then goes into the adjusted close and the pivot of previous day. Just spikes up there and then fails, comes back and tests it, and then continues its move down. Comes into the day mid, again a pullback, and then pushes through the day mid, doesn't get any supply below. So tries to just do a price discovery. Now, the expectation, we had a holiday on Monday due to Maharashtra Day, Gujarat Day, and the Labor Day. So SGX was trading higher, and overnight it had traded somewhere into the 6065 zone. So that's a important point to watch out. And on the low side, this HVN is an important point to watch out. On the upside, we directly have a new high, new all-time high. If in case it pushes above this and starts accepting, then we might see an all-time high during the day. In case it opens and fails and comes into this, then it might want to rotate back up again. But if it gets accepted below this 9335, then make its move down into the 9310, 9300, and maybe even push through that 9300, because the call the put writers are building up there. So still it's beginning of the expiry, so need to see how they build up the open interest, and then we can take the call. Overall, it seems to be just a emotional open, expecting an emotional open, and due to the holiday and a long weekend, and maybe the option guys, if they are losing premium, they'll like rush to exit their positions, the long only options. On the bank nifty, we had a open within the range to the tick of the point of control, explores prices down below the value, fails. We get an inside bar in B period, break of that formation. So this is a two bar balance. So break below the balance. So it's look below the balance, come back in and travel the entire balance. So that happened. Again, the same thing in D period. Look above the balance, fail, and come back to the other edge of the balance. So this is what the balance rule can play a nice role when the auction is like balanced completely on a two bar scale. Then we get a one time framing up. This the K period broke the low of J by a few ticks, which is negligible. It's still like one time framing up, and we have a very strong close at all time highs. Now on the 3 minute, we get this nice balance, a break. That break fails, we get a spike, then no demand into this zone, and then finally it rotates in this range to absorb the supply, and once that supply is absorbed, gives a false break of this pivot, and then slowly starts its move up, and then all of a sudden starts spiking higher, creates a balance higher, and then comes back to check the point from where it broke out. So it's testing these highs, and then again push up higher. So this was supported by volume, and uh, as as the sellers were coming in, they were just driving them out. On the 15 minute, we have a nice 3 bar balance formation, breaks down, and then we have a 2 bar balance. From there, it consolidates almost half the day and then breaks out. 3 bar balance again, comes and tests the stem of that, and then again ramps up. Let's see what we have got on the Renko. So a dicey move on the Renko. This is not clean. And then after this zipper, this is quite tradable. A impulse, zipper, impulse, and goes into a zipper. So this is like a good move which can be easily traded. This, if we trade here, then the stop loss would be like just at the edge. So if we go long here, goes up into the adjusted close, comes back almost to the buying point, and then rotates and makes its move higher. So even if somebody would have bought here, it's a valid buy, and the stop loss got saved just at the edge. Now the volume distribution higher is like it has created a huge high volume node on the upside, and where HVN was created on Thursday in the May contract, there is a LVN on Friday exactly at the same place. So that becomes an important reference as well. Now let's see what we can expect for today. So this becomes a very important reference. This LVN, this HVN is a nice reference. This zipper is a nice reference. So this is the band. So in case it opens at ATH, then come back, test this HVN, and then make its move up gradually towards 22,450 and 22,500. In case it pushes down into this LVN, then we need to see what it does. Does it rotate back up and goes above the high, or does it want to go into this lower HVN and then decide where it wants to go further? So in case it starts getting acceptance here, we will have a look which side it wants to break out. So almost like throughout, like suppose if it's happening here also, we'll need to see which side it needs to break out. So depending on that, we can decide like how much this can go, because it's at the ATH, completely uncharted territory. So better to trade the information that is being generated. But just like on the downside, we can have references. So downside, this HVN is a nice reference, and then this zipper is a nice reference on the downside. So this was a quick one, nothing much to analyze actually, because trading at the ATH, and there is no balance in either to concentrate on that balance. So thanks for watching, and have a profitable trading day ahead. Not maybe not a day to like bet big, because need to see how it behaves after this weekend, and then I will like I'll wait for the initial hours to first let it establish the balance and check where it wants to go. So thanks again, and we'll catch up again during the day and tomorrow. Thanks for watching.